"Grandma, we're leaving. Now." Noah's voice cracked through the silence like a shot. He stood in the doorway, his face pale under the yellow kitchen light. His eyes the same gray-green as his late grandfather's darted toward the basement door. I froze, a spoon still in my hand, oatmeal half stirred on the stove. "What do you mean, leaving?" I asked. "It's past midnight." He didn't answer right away. His hand trembled as he lifted his phone and turned the screen toward me. The photo was dark, grainy pipes, wires, something small and metallic glinting under the basement stairs. I couldn't tell what it was. "What? What am I looking at?" I whispered. Noah's jaw tightened. "Pack a bag," he said softly. "Right now." "What? Why? That's nonsense, Noah." "Grandma, please." His voice shook, and that scared me more than anything. "You have to trust me. We can't stay here tonight." My chest felt tight. "This is my home," I said, my voice cracking. "Your grandfather built this house with his hands, every inch of it. Why would you—" "It's not safe anymore," he said. His eyes glistened. "Please, just grab your things. I'll explain on the way." I'd never seen him look afraid. Noah Carter wasn't the kind to scare easy. Not the boy who used to climb our barn roof just to fix loose shingles. Not the one who carried his neighbor's dog out of a burning shed when he was 15. But his hands were shaking now, and his voice carried something I hadn't heard before: panic. "Don't call anyone," he said as I moved toward my room. "Not Mom, not Uncle Carl. Just pack and come with me." 20 minutes later, we were in his truck, headlights cutting through the dark Tennessee hills. I looked out the window at the house I'd lived in for 40 years, the white farmhouse my husband Raymond built, board by board. My phone buzzed in my lap. The name on the screen? Mark. "Don't answer," Noah said, his eyes locked on the road. "Why not?" He didn't look at me. "Because he's the reason we're running." The air left my lungs. I'm Evelyn Carter. I'm 70 years old. And this is the story of how my grandson saved my life. The headache woke me before dawn again. It started as a dull pulse behind my eyes, then spread until every heartbeat felt like a hammer inside my skull. I lay still, hoping it would fade if I didn't move. It didn't. The room tilted when I sat up. My stomach rolled. I gripped the nightstand until the world steadied again. In the half-light, I could see my reflection in the mirror across the room. Thin, pale, a stranger's face, where mine used to be. I told myself it was just age. 70 isn't young, and I'd lost weight since Raymond died. Grief changes a body. The doctor said as much. "Nothing unusual, Mrs. Carter. You're getting older. Your body slows down." He smiled kindly, but the pain never slowed. 2 weeks ago, it got worse. I remember standing in the kitchen, reaching for a glass of water, and then nothing. When I opened my eyes, my neighbor Linda was kneeling beside me, phone in hand, her face white with fear. "Evelyn, can you hear me?" "Stay still, sweetheart. The ambulance is coming." The hospital smelled like disinfectant and loneliness. They ran tests, blood, scans, questions I barely understood. A young doctor with a calm voice came back with results. "Mrs. Carter," he said, "your carbon monoxide levels are high. You've been exposed." "Exposed?" I repeated. "To what?" "Do you have a detector in your home?" "Yes. My son checked it last month. It works fine." He frowned. "Maybe check it again." Mark arrived an hour later, still in his work uniform, smelling faintly of engine oil. "Mom," he said, "you probably left your car running in the garage." "I don't drive much anymore, and the garage is detached." He sighed, like I was being difficult. "You've been confused lately. It's okay." When I got home, he tested the detector himself, pressing the button until it beeped. "See? Works perfectly," he said, setting it back in place. You're safe now. But lying in bed that night, the beeping echoed in my mind like a lie that knew it was lying. Something wasn't right. I just didn't know yet that the danger was inside my own walls. The following Saturday morning, I heard the crunch of tires on the gravel driveway. When I looked through the window, I saw Noah's old blue pickup, the same one his grandfather helped him rebuild in high school. He got out slowly, his tall frame casting a shadow across the porch steps. I opened the door before he could knock. "Grandma," he said softly, smiling, but the smile faltered when he saw me. "You look smaller." I forced a laugh. That's what happens when your stomach forgets how to like food. He stepped inside, taking off his cap. His eyes moved across the kitchen, the oak cabinets Raymond had built, the same table where we used to play cards on Sunday afternoons. He ran his thumb along the edge of the counter, frowning a little. "You said there were cracks in your bedroom wall?" he asked. "Yes, above the window. Your father said it was nothing, just settling." Noah nodded, though his jaw tightened. "Mind if I take a look?" "Of course not, dear." I followed him up the narrow staircase, my hand gliding along the wooden banister that still felt warm with Raymond's touch. In my bedroom, the morning light made the cracks more visible, thin white lines snaking above the window frame. Noah moved closer, ran his fingers along them, then crouched by the vent under the window. He stared at it for a long moment. "This doesn't look right," he murmured. "What do you mean?" He pressed on the wall beside the vent. "The paint's newer here. Someone patched this recently." I blinked. "Your father repainted that section." He said he was sealing drafts. Noah didn't answer. He stood, went to the hall closet, grabbed a flashlight, and returned to the vent. He shined the beam inside, then pulled back sharply. "Grandma, these vents are sealed from the inside." I stared. "What?" He took down the carbon monoxide detector next, flipped it open, and froze. "Batteries glued in," he said quietly. "Dead. This thing can't detect anything." "But it beeped?" "It can beep without working. Someone modified it that way." He looked at me then, his voice low and careful. "Grandma, someone's trying to make you sick." Slowly. The words didn't make sense. My lips trembled as I whispered, "Noah, who would do such a thing?" He held my gaze, the truth already forming in his eyes. "Someone who knows this house," he said, "and someone who knew how to make it look safe." Noah's boots thudded against the wooden steps as he headed down to the basement, flashlight in hand. I followed slower, my heart hammering against my ribs. The air grew cooler with every step, damp and heavy, the smell of old concrete and time. The beam of his light swept across boxes, paint cans, and Raymond's old tool bench. Dust floated in the air like ash. "Grandma," Noah called quietly, "when did Dad last come down here?" I hesitated. He was here about 2 months ago. Said he wanted to clean out the furnace filters, check the heater lines for winter. The light stopped moving. For a long moment, Noah didn't speak. Then he whispered. He did more than that. He crouched behind the furnace, pushing aside a stack of storage bins. The flashlight caught a glint of metal pipes snaking out from the main gas line, branching toward the ceiling, wrapped in fresh tape and fitted with a small electronic box about the size of a paperback. "What on earth?" I stepped closer, but he held out a hand. "Don't touch it." His voice trembled slightly. He pulled out his phone and snapped several photos from different angles. Then he turned to me, pale. "Grandma, this line leads straight under your bedroom floor." I shook my head. That can't be. Raymond built this house himself. There was never... "This was added recently," he interrupted gently. "See this wiring? It connects to a timer. When the heater kicks on, it would open a valve and release carbon monoxide right into the floor cavity. The sealed vents keep it from escaping anywhere else. The room spun for a moment. I grabbed the railing to steady myself. But that doesn't make sense. Who would... Someone who wanted it to look like an accident, Noah said softly. Low doses over weeks, just enough to make you sick, confused, until... He couldn't finish the sentence. I stared at the photos on his phone pipes and wires, the cold precision of it all. Your father installed this system, I whispered. He said he was sealing drafts. Not. He met my eyes, grief and fury mixed together. Grandma, I think Dad's trying to kill you. The basement felt suddenly smaller, the shadows darker. Somewhere above us, the house creaked the sound of a home built with love, now turned into a weapon. I pressed a shaking hand to my chest. Then we can't stay here another minute. Noah nodded. I'll drive. We drove through the dark hills of eastern Tennessee in silence. The road wound between fields and pine woods, the headlights carving pale tunnels through the mist. I sat stiff in the passenger seat, clutching my purse like it could keep me safe. Noah didn't speak until we turned into a lonely diner, glowing at the edge of a 2-lane road. A red neon sign flickered over the door. Miller's Diner open 24 hours. Inside, the air smelled of coffee, bacon grease, and something faintly burnt. The waitress looked half asleep. We chose a booth by the window, far from the only other couple eating in the corner. Noah ordered 2 coffees. My stomach twisted at the thought of drinking anything, but I wrapped my hands around the cup anyway, letting the heat calm my shaking fingers. He set his phone on the table and took a breath. We need to talk away from the house. I nodded. Start from the beginning. He opened his photo gallery, the pictures from the basement, the timer box, the gas line. Whoever set this up knew exactly what they were doing. The connections, the valve timing, it's not amateur work. It's an engineered system. Your father's an engineer, I said quietly. Yes. His mouth tightened. That's why I recognized his work. I've seen him build systems just like this in his lab. Every detail, even the fittings he uses, are the same brand. I stared at him, the words echoing without sinking in. But why? Noah scrolled through his phone again and opened a local news article. 6 months ago, Dad's company, TriStar Dynamics, filed for bankruptcy. He was one of the senior engineers laid off. My chest tightened. He never told me. He's been hiding it. Their house is mortgaged to the roof. Aunt Diane's husband Carl is on dialysis, medical bills, debt collectors, everything. They're drowning. I shook my head, tears stinging. That's not a reason to murder your mother. It is, Noah said quietly, if you think you'll inherit $500,000. The words cut through me like cold air. My farmhouse, the one Raymond built and left to me outright, was worth nearly $900,000 now. I remembered Mark's voice weeks ago, casual but strange. You've lived a good long life, Mom. Maybe it's time to downsize. It hadn't sounded cruel then, but now I heard it differently, not as a suggestion, as a countdown. Noah leaned forward, his eyes fierce. Grandma, I think they've been planning this for months, and we need to make sure they never get the chance to finish it. That night, Noah booked us a room at a small roadside motel an hour from Knoxville. The sign outside buzzed weakly. Moonlight Inn. Vacancy. Inside, the wallpaper peeled, and the air smelled faintly of mildew and bleach. But it was safe, or so I hoped. Noah double-locked the door, checked the windows twice, then drew the curtains tight. Try to get some sleep, he said softly. We'll go to the police first thing in the morning. I nodded, but I knew sleep wasn't coming. The room felt too quiet, too still, the hum of the old air conditioner masking sounds that might not even exist. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the door. Every creak of the floor above us made my pulse race. Every car passing outside made me hold my breath. Around 2 a.m., my phone lit up on the nightstand. Mark calling. I stared at his name glowing in the dark. My hand moved toward it instinctively, but Noah's voice stopped me. "Don't answer," he said from across the room. He was still awake, sitting in the chair with his phone in his lap. "But what if—" "Grandma, please, not yet." The phone stopped ringing, then started again. Diane, then Mark again. 6 missed calls. 7, 8. Each one felt heavier than the last. When the screen finally went black, Noah stood up. "I forgot something," he said. "Your symptom notebook. The one by your bed, it's proof. It shows the pattern of your exposure. If we have that, the police will believe you." I grabbed his arm. "Noah, don't go back there. They might be watching." He smiled faintly. "I'll be careful, I promise." In and out. 5 minutes. Before I could protest, he was gone. The sound of the truck faded into the night. Minutes passed, then an hour. Every second stretched longer, heavier. When his headlights finally swept across the window, I exhaled for the first time in what felt like forever. He came in fast, breathless, clutching the notebook, and his face was white as ash. "Grandma," he said, voice breaking. "Dad was there, and so was Aunt Diane." My heart froze. "I heard him on the phone," Noah whispered. He said, "Owen has her. If the police see the house, we're finished. We have to find them now." He looked at me, eyes wide with something beyond fear. "They're coming for us." The clock on the nightstand read 3:27 a.m. when the knock came. Not loud, just 3 steady taps. Noah and I froze. Then came a voice, muffled but unmistakable. "Mom," Mark called gently from the other side of the door. "I know you're in there. Please open up. We just want to talk." Noah's eyes met mine. "He found us," he whispered. My pulse pounded in my ears. How? How could he possibly? "Diane works in insurance," Noah said. "She could have called every motel in a 50-mile radius, asked for your name. They must have gotten a hit." The knock came again, harder this time. "Mom, please. You're scaring everyone. Noah's confused you. Let me in." Noah moved quickly, scanning the room. "There's a back exit through the bathroom," he said. "When I open it, we run. Don't stop. Don't talk. Just follow me." The knocking turned to pounding. "Mom, open this door right now." I clutched my purse to my chest as Noah quietly unlatched the secondary door. A sliver of cold night air swept in. "Ready?" he whispered. I nodded. The front door shuddered a hard kick from outside. We ran. The back hallway was narrow and dark. Our footsteps echoed off the tile. At the end, an emergency exit led to a small alley behind the motel. We burst through it into the chill Tennessee night. But we weren't alone. Diane stood near the parking lot, her hair messy, her face pale in the fluorescent light. A syringe glimmered in her hand. Behind us, another figure rounded the corner, Mark. His expression was calm, almost tender. "Mom," he said, taking a step forward. "You're confused. That gas exposure has affected your brain. None of this is real." "Stay back," Noah warned. Mark ignored him. "Noah, son, you've misunderstood. Your grandmother's sick. Let's take her home and get her help." "I saw the timer under her floor, Dad," Noah snapped. "The sealed vents. The fake detector. You engineered it." Mark's calm cracked. "You don't understand what it's like to lose everything. 20 years of work gone. Diane's drowning in medical bills. We had no choice." "No choice but to kill your own mother?" I cried. Mark's eyes filled with something dark. "You've lived your life, Mom. You had comfort, safety, a house that could save us all. Diane took a step closer, the syringe trembling in her hand. "It would have been peaceful," she said softly. "You wouldn't have even felt it." Noah moved in front of me. Not another step. But from behind Diane, I saw headlights flash another car pulling in fast. "Carl." He got out holding a wrench like a club. "Run," Noah said. But there was nowhere left to go. We were trapped. Diane's voice broke the silence first. "Mom, please don't make this harder than it has to be." She inched closer, the syringe catching the glint of the motel's backlight. My back hit the cold brick wall. Noah shifted, his arm outstretched, shielding me. Mark stepped forward slowly, his tone almost gentle. "No one wants to hurt you. The gas made you paranoid. You're confused, Mom. Let us help you." "I'm not confused," I said through shaking lips. "I'm terrified, because my son turned my home into a trap." Mark's face hardened. "Then maybe you shouldn't have left it." That was the last thing he said before Noah moved. He swung his arm out, shoving a trash can between them. It clattered against the asphalt, echoing off the narrow alley walls. Diane flinched. Carl cursed and stepped closer, raising the wrench. Then the sound that changed everything. Sirens. Loud. Close. The alley erupted in red and blue light. Police cars screeched in from both ends, tires spraying gravel. The headlights flashed across their faces. Diane frozen mid-step, Mark's hand half raised, Carl backing away toward his car. "Police!" someone shouted. "Drop your weapons, hands in the air." Diane hesitated, still clutching the syringe. "Drop it!" another officer yelled. She let it fall. It hit the pavement and rolled, the clear liquid inside catching the light. Mark's shoulders sagged. His voice came out small. "This isn't what it looks like." An officer stepped forward, gun-trained. "Sir, we heard everything. The 911 line's been open the whole time. We have your confession." Noah exhaled shakily. "I called as soon as I saw their cars pull in. They recorded all of it." Two officers grabbed Mark and Carl, cuffing them against the wall. Another picked up the syringe with gloved hands and sealed it in a plastic evidence bag. A woman with gray hair tied back approached me, her badge glinting under the flashing lights. "Mrs. Evelyn Carter?" she asked. "I'm Detective Rowe. You're safe now, ma'am. We've got you." The night air burned in my lungs as the realization hit the danger was over. Or, at least, the part where they could reach me was. Detective Rowe drove us to the Knoxville Police Department just before dawn. The sky outside was still a deep blue-gray, the color of exhaustion. I sat wrapped in a blanket the officer had given me, my hands trembling despite the warmth. Inside the station, they led us to a small interview room, beige walls, a single table, a flickering light that hummed quietly above. Noah sat beside me, still covered in dust and sweat. When he reached for my hand, I clung to it like it was the only steady thing left in the world. Detective Rowe laid out a folder on the table. "We've already sent a team to your property," she said. "We'll need your full statement and any evidence your grandson collected." Noah unlocked his phone, scrolling through the photos, the gas manifold, the wiring, the timer, the sealed vents. Rowe leaned in close, her brow furrowing as she studied them. "He documented everything," she murmured. "This is solid work." "They were trying to make it look natural," Noah said quietly. "Slow exposure, cognitive symptoms like dementia." Rowe nodded grimly. "We've seen this kind of method before, but rarely this calculated. Whoever engineered this knew exactly what they were doing." Her phone buzzed. She stepped out to answer, then returned a few minutes later. Her expression had hardened. "Our forensics team just confirmed what your grandson found. The gas line under your bedroom floor was deliberately modified, and the detector on your ceiling completely disabled. We also found fresh fingerprints on the device casing. They match Mark Carter. I felt my throat tighten. My son. Ro placed another sheet on the table. We also have text messages between Diane and Mark. We recovered them from her phone before she invoked counsel. I blinked back tears as Ro read aloud. Once Mom's gone, we can sell the house before the market drops. Another message followed. Don't worry. Mark said the system's already working. Her memory's fading. My hand covered my mouth. The sound that came out of me wasn't a sob, it was smaller, more broken. Ro's tone softened. Mrs. Carter, I need you to understand something. This wasn't impulsive. This was planned, timed, engineered. But because of your grandson, we have everything we need. I looked at Noah. His eyes were red, but steady. My father built that system, he said quietly, but I'm going to help tear it apart. 3 months later, the courthouse in downtown Knoxville smelled faintly of old wood and coffee. I sat in the front row, my hands folded tightly in my lap. Noah was beside me, his posture straight, protective, every inch the man his grandfather raised him to be. The trial had moved faster than anyone expected. The evidence was overwhelming. Mark's laptop contained a folder titled Project Serenity. Inside were diagrams of gas flow systems, exposure estimates, and a line labeled Phase 3, Termination. Diane's emails to her husband showed coordination about selling the property immediately after my natural death. Carl's fingerprints were found on the wrench left near the furnace. And then there was the 911 recording their voices captured in that motel alley, confessing everything. Mark had once been so proud of his mind, of the precision that came with engineering. Now that same precision had built his undoing. When the judge entered, the courtroom rose. He reviewed the charges in a measured voice. Attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and tampering with safety devices. Mark Carter pled guilty to avoid trial. Diane and Carl followed. There was no fight left in them, only the hollow acceptance of people who'd already lost everything. The judge turned to me. Mrs. Carter, he said gently, would you like to make a statement before sentencing? I stood. The room felt heavy with silence. My husband, Raymond Carter, built our home with his own hands, I began. He installed every vent, every beam, every safety line, so that our family would always have a place that protected us. That house was built out of love, not greed. I looked at my son. Mark wouldn't meet my eyes. But my son took that love and turned it into a weapon. He used his father's skills not to protect life, but to end it. And yet, the same blood that betrayed me also saved me through my grandson. Noah's hand tightened around mine. Because of him, I said, voice trembling but clear, I am still here. Because of integrity, courage, and love, not revenge. The judge nodded solemnly. Mark Carter, you are sentenced to 18 years in federal custody. Diane Miller, 14. Carl Miller, 10. As the bailiffs led them away, Mark finally looked up. His eyes were wet. Mom, he whispered, I'm sorry. But apologies can't rebuild what's burned to ashes. When the courtroom doors closed behind them, I felt the weight of 40 years lift from my chest, not gone, but finally allowed to breathe again. 6 months after the sentencing, I sold the farmhouse. The young couple who bought it had 2 children and dreams of a vegetable garden where my rose bushes once stood. I watched them walk through the front door laughing, pointing, planning, and for the first time, I didn't feel anger, just release. The house had done its job. It had protected me until it couldn't anymore. Noah handled everything, the closing papers, the inspectors, the movers. Before we left, he spent a full afternoon salvaging the cedar cabinets Raymond had built 40 years earlier. He sanded the edges, polished the joints, and packed them carefully in his truck. When we reached my new apartment in downtown Chattanooga, he installed them himself. The sound of his drill, the smell of wood and varnish, it brought Raymond back to me. When Noah finished, he stood back, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Grandpa said these would outlast all of us," he murmured. I touched the smooth cedar. The wood was warm beneath my fingertips, alive somehow. "He was right," I said softly. Life became smaller after that, quieter. I went to therapy, learned how to sleep without checking the locks 3 times, how to walk past shadows without expecting danger. Healing was slow, but it came in inches. Every Thursday, Noah visited for dinner. Sometimes he brought groceries. Sometimes just stories from his work sites. He'd started his own contracting business, honest work, the kind his grandfather would have admired. One evening, he brought someone new. "Grandma, this is Lena," he said. She was kind-eyed, with clay on her hands and paint under her nails, an artist who made furniture from reclaimed wood. During dinner, she smiled at me and said, "Noah talks about his grandfather all the time. He says Raymond Carter built more than a house, he built a legacy." I felt tears rise, but they were the good kind. "He did," I said, "and you're both carrying it on." That night, when they left, I stood in my small kitchen, the one lined with Raymond's cedar cabinets. Streetlight poured through the window, turning the wood gold. I rested my palm against it. "You built this to protect us, Ray," I whispered. "And you still do." Then I smiled. Because for the first time in years, I finally believed it, that love, built right, doesn't rot or fade. It endures. When greed poisons love, only integrity can cleanse the air again. Family isn't who shares your blood, it's who keeps you breathing.